everybody. Hope everybody's having a fantastic day. Welcome to another episode of Crafting with Christina. So today we are doing this card from start to finish. I think this is such a pretty card. I like the books and I like to do them all in green. I just thought it kind of gives it a real tree look on here. So I just called this the Love You Book Tree card because it's I love you and it's a tree full of books. So this is what we're going to be working on. We are doing just a standard A2 card, which is 4.25 by 5.5. So what you're going to need today is score tape if you choose, but you definitely want some liquid glue, and you'll see why. We're doing the 80-pound neenah Solar White cardstock. Typically when I work with Copics, I always use hammer mail paper. But today it's not really that big of a deal just because we're just going to color in a few of these books and the tree thing on here. So it's really not that big of a deal. So I just wanted to see what it looked like with the Solar White, the 80-pound, and it works just fine. You're also going to be needing the 110-pound neenah white cardstock for your card base, like we always use. It's just nice and really sturdy. So for the cardstock, for the card base here, the Solar White, both of these, the 80-pound and the 110-pound, come in an 8.5 by 11 sheet. So they come in sheets like this. So all you need to do is just slice your 110-pound, slice it in half. And then you have this piece here, fold it in half, use your bone folder, and you've got yourself a really great card base. So you get 2 out of 1 piece of paper. So cut it in half and save the other half. You're going to use your Misty tool if you have it, just to stamp out the card here. And we're going to be using 2 different stamps today, actually 1 die and 1 stamp. So the first one we're using is they're both by Hero Arts. And this one is called the Tree of Knowledge Fancy Die. So we're going to be using this one. And we're also going to be using, also by Hero Arts. This is called, I know you're not going to be able to read that very well, but it's called Literally the Best. And it has some great sentiments on here, but we're going to use the I Love You More Than Books. So the other thing you're going to need is just any black ink. I use the Lawn Fawn Jet Black just because that's what I use for stamping my sentiments and everything as well. But any black ink will do. And then either a paintbrush or your water brush, because we're going to be doing some splattering. And then Copic markers, I only use 3. I just did N1, YG25, and E25. So those are the 3 colors that I use for this, and let's get started. So first things first, what you're going to need is, again, once you've already had your back piece, so cut that in half, fold it in half, and now you have your card base. So you can choose if you have the large stitched rectangle from Lawn Fawn. That's already cutting at the 5.5 by the 4.25. Otherwise, cut your 80-pound neenah Solar White cardstock to that size. So 4.25 by 5.5. I've already used the die, so that's what we're going to do. So before we do anything else, we can stamp, we can do whatever we need to, but we're going to actually start with the die. So what we're going to want to do is get an idea. Actually, I think I'm going to start with a stamp, and at least we know exactly where to put the die. So let's get my Misty out here. You can do it either way, but I think it's probably just easier to start with this. So you're going to put your piece back down into the corner of your Misty, just in case anything moves, then at least you know where it's going to come back to. So now you're going to grab whatever sentiment you want to do. I just like this one. I thought this was really quite pretty. I'm going to put this off to the side here so that you can see the card while we're working on it. Okay. So now you're going to keep it closer down to the bottom because you do want the tree to be nice up top there and have enough space. And you just kind of center it from edge to edge. So now what you're going to do is you're just going to pick this up. As you can see because this is still nice and sticky, this actually moves my paper a little bit, but so at least now we know we're still going to be in the right spot. So what you want to do is you want to take your black ink, try not to shake this too much, and you're just going to stamp this down here. And I like to make sure that mine is very dark, so I like to stamp it at least twice. Okay, so we've got that written down there. So now I've got you love you more than books. We're going to take my chamois here and we're just going to clean off my stamp. Okay, and we're just going to put that away. Pull this out here. So now what you want to do is you want to grab your die here. And you want to, I usually like to use either purple tape or washi tape or something, just so at least before I cut it, I know that it's in the right spot. So now we're gonna take this, we're gonna put a little bit of, just kind of center it between the sentiment and then center it between here. And I think that looks good here. So I'm gonna tape that down. And now I'm going to, I'll pull my Gemini on the, it might shake it again, sorry. But so now you're going to use whatever, whether or not you have the Gemini or a Big Shot or whatever die cutting tool you have, you're going to cut this one out. So I know I'm using my Gemini here. So I'm just going to push this through. Hopefully this doesn't shake this up too bad. And this is why I like my Gemini, because it's completely hands-free. Move that off to the side. Okay, so now when we remove this, take your purple tape off here or your washi tape. Just make sure whatever tape you're using is just enough to hold it down but does not rip your paper. So now this piece here comes right out, and now you've got all these little books. And it's really neat because if you look at how I did on this one, I actually folded them so that almost looks like their books are like flying. So you're going to put this off to the side right now because we are going to be piecing this back in here. So now you just want to grab, before you do anything else with it, you want to grab your green. This isn't too dark of a color, so you're probably okay, but I always like to take both ends of my Copic marker off. So that I don't have to worry about it if it doesn't breathe right, that it blobs out of the end, because nothing is worse than having that. So now you're just going to color in all your little books. So it doesn't matter whatever green you want. You can use any green, but now you just want to color in all your books. So I know this is going to take me a few minutes, but, and the really neat part about this die is I found at first I thought, oh my goodness, are all these little books going to be falling out? And now I have to figure out where to piece them. So I didn't realize that this is actually a die that holds all the books in just by the center. So now you're going to see in a minute that you can actually just pull, take your tweezers or something. You're going to take the edge of the book and you're actually just going to kind of fold it in half. And so that you get more of a 3D effect on this. You can leave them down if you want to, but it just looks really cool when you have basically the books look like they're fluttering in the wind. So you're going to take your green and color in all your little books here. Probably should have done some of this ahead so you don't have to watch me coloring. But if you're following along, then at least it gives you a little bit of time to color in all your little books here in your tree. And you can do whatever colors you want. I just thought green, just because of the green leaves, I really like the look of just the green with the black on there. I just thought it was just a really neat look. And you don't know, if you choose not to cut this out of your background piece, you can also glue it or, 3D it on top with your foam dots on top of it. But I just thought it was a really neat look to have it cut out and then actually just put it right back into it. So don't forget about the little books on the bottom. So once you're done with your green, you're just going to take your brown, which again, you can use any brown you want. I'm just using the E25. And you're just going to kind of carefully go over top of the little stems of the tree branches. Go through all the tree branches here. Just so that it gives it that little bit of look. Now these ones definitely do not pull up. So you don't have to, these ones will not flutter. So you're just going to take your color, go all the way down. I like to stop mine before and so that it still has that little bit of white along the edge here, which we will be coloring gray just to ground the tree on the card a little bit more. So now you've got all your little branches. So now you've got this. So next thing you'd want to do before you put it back onto your back piece, and we're going to do this piece in a second, but I just want to show you, I'm going to hold this up, hopefully it's in frame, but do you see how these now, you can basically just fold your little books in half. I just think this is such a fun die so that you can actually, you don't have to push them all up, but just to kind of gives it that really neat look. So that's what I did with most of the books. And all you're going to do is just, you can kind of fold it, push them into the center, and you've got your little bit of a flying book here. Even the little ones. So now you're just going to fold as many as you want. You can do them all. You can just do a couple, however you want to do them. I do most of mine because I just think it looks really cool when it's on the card to have all these little books flying in the wind. Okay, so once you get these ones done, I'm going to leave them like this. So once you get this done, you're going to put this off to the side because you want to actually do your splattering on the background. So if you have a craft mat, I usually use my glass mat, so I'm going to bring that out here. If you have a craft mat, that works too. Just make sure you have something down, even if it's just like a big sheet of paper or something. You just, when you're doing your splattering, you don't want it to splatter on anything else. So make sure that you don't have anything like my card base or these. Make sure they're off to the side. So now is when you want to grab either your paintbrush and some water, or if you have a water brush, and you just want to grab this piece before you start putting your tree back in, because you don't want the tree to have the black parts on it. So it doesn't matter. You can use any black ink you have. It doesn't really matter, whatever you want. You just want to put a little bit down on your paper here, or on your glass mat. Just mix a little bit of water, and all you're doing is just picking it up, and you're just going to tap, right? You're just going to tap along here. Just enough so that you got some blackish, kind of grayish. Pick up some more if you need to. If it's not dark enough, just add more ink. And all you're going to do is just tap your paintbrush. Or if you're using your water brush, that's all you have to do. If you want to add more, you can add more. However you want to do it is totally fine. You can use a paper towel, or I just have a dried out, I'm just going to add a little bit of water here just to make sure that I've cleaned off my end of my brush here, because you don't want to go into your next color and all of a sudden there's still black on the end there. So you just want to pick this off here. So I will hold this up. So now you've just got some of that lovely little black splatter all over the back of your card, or on your back piece here. So what you have to do next is just start moving this up to there, is just start putting this together. So what you want to do is you want to take your card base, and you may as well, I would put this part down first. It's a whole lot easier. So now you're going to grab your score tape. And you can do this with liquid glue if you prefer to use liquid glue. That's fine too. I just like the score tape just because at least I know this card will never come off its card base. And then I like to put a little couple pieces down here too, since the tree is cut right out of my background. I want to make sure that that doesn't move around a lot either. And then I just find it a lot easier if I use my tweezers. You can get in there with your fingernails and stuff too, but I find that tweezers, if you have some really good sharp tweezers, oh my goodness, it makes a world of difference. Oops, one more piece. Okay, so now you are just going to attach this. I usually like to start at the top corner and make sure that piece is down. Then I just, so that you still have a little bit of wiggle room either way, and then you match it up with the bottom, and then you push this all down, and now you've got your card base on here. So now you're pretty much done. All you have to do is now you're just, and this is why I'm saying you want to make sure that you actually have glue, like a glue stick or whatever you want. I like to use the Lawn Fawn glue too. Now you want to make sure that you're not getting the books, because you don't want them to be pushed down, because the whole point of this was to have these so that they're a little bit more of a 3D look. So all you're going to do is just take your glue tube, and I just go basically just quickly, lightly around all the edges. Okay, around the whole edge on here. And then just kind of go up a little bit around the center. A few little spots in here, and that's really all you need. So long as you have it around the edge and a little bit up the center, you're good to go. And now it's very easy to put back in because you cut it out of here. And all you have to do is just fit it right back into the spot of where it was and just push it down a little bit until the glue starts holding. And as I said, if you want to put like a little bit of 3D, if you want to put some foam tape behind here, it's just a little bit more difficult than if you're trying to put it in. You would have to probably keep the books down on the side. But I just thought it was a neat look to cut it out. And then you still have that whole outline of that tree, but now you still have your books that are flying around as well. So if you choose to stop there, you can do that as well too. But this is where I pulled my gray one in. As you can see in this one, you can see the difference, right? I kind of wanted to have my tree more of a grounded look instead of just being there on the card. So all you need to do is just grab your gray. And again, it's really light. You don't need to take both ends off. And this is just kind of where I went and just kind of put a bit of a ground, a little bit thicker there. And then you're just kind of dabbing it lightly off into the ends, just to give it that little bit of a look that it's sitting on the ground there. And that's all there is to that card. Now you've got yourself a beautiful little, I love you more than books, and you've got your little flying books into your tree. So hopefully you guys learned a little something today. And until next time, I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye.